The ballroom smelled faintly of polished wood and champagne. Naval galas have a rhythm to them, measured voices, careful posture. The quiet gravity of dress uniforms under soft light. Conversations drift in small clusters, officers standing a little straighter than civilians. Spouses navigating a social map that exists parallel to rank. I stood near one of the tall windows, a glass of water in my hand. The orchestra had just finished a slow piece, and the room was settling into that soft hum of conversation again. 3 feet away. My stepmother leaned toward a circle of officers' wives. She spoke in the tone people use when they think they're being discreet. She married well and rode the coattails. She said, her voice carrying just enough to reach the edge of the group. The uniform is just a costume. A small ripple of polite laughter followed. I didn't turn around. 5 years earlier I might have. But the Navy trains you to understand something important about rooms like this. Not every statement deserves an immediate reply. Timing matters more than reaction. So I stood still. The glass in my hand caught a reflection of the chandelier above us. Tiny pieces of light scattered across the surface. Behind my stepmother, someone had stopped walking. I noticed it only because the room's movement shifted slightly. A tall figure stood several paces behind her. His attention directed not at the conversation but at the insignia on my lapel. 3 silver eagles, Captain. Admiral Welliker had pinned them there himself. 2. The promotion ceremony had taken place 6 months earlier in a smaller room at the naval base. No orchestra, no ballroom. Just a handful of officers and a few chairs arranged in careful rows. The Admiral reviewed my service record beforehand. Naval intelligence deployments. Convoy command rotations, 2 years leading a logistics unit in a region where supply chains were as dangerous as combat zones. When he pinned the eagles onto my collar, he didn't make a speech. He simply said, "Well earned, Captain." The words were brief, but in the Navy they carry weight. Rank is not decorative. It is verified, recorded, and recognized across every command structure in the service. Which is why the Admiral now stood quietly behind my stepmother, studying the insignia she had just dismissed as a costume. I heard her continue. "You know how these things work," she said lightly. "Connections, marrying into the right circles." Another soft laugh from the group. I kept my eyes on the window. In the reflection, I saw Admiral Whittaker step forward. He didn't interrupt her sentence. He simply walked around the group and stopped beside me. "Captain." His voice was calm but unmistakable. Every officer in the room knew that tone. I turned then and faced him. "Admiral." We exchanged the brief, practiced nod that naval protocol allows at formal events. He glanced once more at the insignia on my lapel, then back at my face. "I didn't realize you'd be attending tonight," he said. My schedule opened unexpectedly. "Sir." Glad it did. The group behind us had gone very quiet. I could feel my stepmother's attention shift, though she hadn't moved yet. The Admiral continued speaking in the same measured voice. "I was telling someone earlier about the Logistics Command Review Board last quarter." He paused. "Your report on the southern convoy routes was still being referenced." "Thank you, sir." The conversation lasted less than 30 seconds. Just 2 officers exchanging professional acknowledgements. But within the structure of the Navy, those 30 seconds were unmistakable. The Admiral had publicly addressed me by rank. Not as someone's spouse, not as a guest. As a captain. Behind us, chairs shifted slightly. Someone cleared their throat. When the Admiral finally moved on to greet another group, the silence he left behind was heavier than before. I turned back toward the window. My stepmother stood very still now, her earlier confidence replaced by something quieter. She hadn't expected that. Few civilians fully understand the difference between social recognition and institutional authority. In military culture, the latter overrides everything else. The women she had been speaking to glanced between us, recalculating the conversation they had just participated in. No one mentioned the earlier comment. No apology arrived. But the room had changed, subtly, irreversibly. My stepmother stepped closer after a moment. "You didn't tell me he knew you," she said. Her voice had lost its earlier brightness. I looked at her then. He reviewed my promotion file. That was all. No correction, no argument, just the truth. Across the ballroom, the orchestra began another piece. Conversation slowly resumed, though quieter than before. My stepmother nodded once and turned back toward the group she had been speaking with. But the conversation there had shifted as well. The easy assumptions were gone now. I finished my water and set the glass on a passing tray. The admiral stood across the room speaking with two other officers. His posture relaxed, unaware, or perhaps simply unconcerned, about the effect of a simple greeting. That's the thing about authority when it's genuine. It doesn't need to announce itself. It just exists. I adjusted the sleeve of my dress uniform and stepped back into the current of the room. No one stopped me. No one needed to. The eagles on my collar were already explanation enough.